One of my clients got ADHD. We are literally having to go back and kind of almost retrain her nervous system because of stuff from her childhood, holding her breath, being an anxious kid. For her nervous system now and her body, that's like default. So she's quite often feels dysregulated, feels out of sorts, and she swings a little bit trying to come back into her breath. But her default is not a healthy default because it's come from a lot of holding her breath as a child, being tense, being anxious, but that's not healthy. Physical well-being, mental well-being, brain health, heart health, that will impact all of that long term. And of course, that when you run your nervous system like that, that creates more cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol and adrenaline has an impact on the brain and the brain health, cognitive function, cognitive ability, your ability to make decisions quickly, like which is a real big problem for a lot of people, and procrastination. Who would have thought that all can stem from your nervous system and that your breath is a thing that actually is a thing that can help you regulate all of that?
Welcome to the Unconventional Business Podcast, your place for real stories of real people growing their businesses in the real world. Most of us are neurodivergent in some way, but of course everyone is welcome. This is the place for rule breakers, narrative dismantlers, and those who just want to forge their own unique path in the world. You will find no do it my way or 6 steps to 6 figures and all that BS here. My guests and I will offer guidance that allows you to take just the bits you like and easily apply them to your business. And of course, to bin the rest if you like. After all, building a successful business, whatever success means to you, is about creating something with structure and flow, not something rigid that feels like wearing someone else's clothes. Join me on this journey and together, let's do business differently. Today, I'm joined by the lovely Sam Adams, life coach and breathwork facilitator, and also a connection I'm super fond of. We've been connected for a while, and also a returning guest to the podcast. Me and Sam, I think the first time we connected, we got on a call and we said fuck a lot, and I was like, I think we're going to have a good time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I was trying to think how we actually did connect, but it must be through LinkedIn somehow.
I think we met at a networking event and we weren't really feeling the vibes of that event. And then we had a one-to-one.
Yes, that was it.
Just got on. Yeah.
We said fuck a lot. We got on a lot. And I feel like, I just want to say, like, how many people get to come back again? Was it because I was so shit and I can do a better job second time round? Or is it because, I don't know, I'm just awesome?
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, it's the awesome human vibes. And also, I just love our conversations. And I think your specialism in breath work that's grown a lot in the last couple of years, maybe since the last time we did this. And I can't help but think that would be of huge benefit to my listeners. I think breath work is one of those things that can have a massive impact on calming your nervous system, which is really important for ADHDers, but there's this kind of abiding myth, a bit like meditation, like, oh yeah, that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And there will be something that works for you. It's just about finding it. So who better to talk to than the breathwork person, which is you.
Thank you. Someone called me a breathwork expert the other day and I was like, what, me?
Well, I nearly said expert, but I feel like it's one of those words that's become a bit wankery, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I don't know. I'm going to claim it, I think.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, why not? Someone said to me, who's someone I respect in the coaching world and business world, very, very successful. And she said, if you're in the room and you know more than the average about, your thing, as it were, then you're an expert. And I was like, yeah. And I kind of, I am, I guess, more often than not. And I was on a call the other day with someone who was like, I said, oh, do you know breathwork? And she said, yeah, she was a yogi, she'd done a lot of training stuff. And then we started talking and then she went, no, I actually don't know about that, or I don't know about this and I didn't know that. And then I'm thinking, I know my shit.
Yeah, you absolutely do.
We underestimate ourselves, don't we?
Yes. Well, I have to ask you this question, and also because I really want to hear the answer. What makes you unconventional?
Oh, well, what makes me unconventional? I can't remember what I said the first time round. In terms of what I'm doing now, I think there can be a lot of woo. And I don't necessarily have anything against that as much as I used to, like whatever woo is to some people. But Well, I was very skeptical about breath work and stuff like that when someone first told me to go and do it, and I was like, that's just a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm not doing that. And what I try and do is I try and keep it relatable and fun and real. And I think there's not a lot of that in the breathwork world because it's all a bit spiritual and we're all gonna, put our hands
Yeah.
together and prayer pros and om and ah together and I'm like, no. Like, I'm not saying there's not a place for some of that, because some of that om and ahhing with the throat and the breath can actually really relax you. But I just want to keep it. I just think that I'm unconventional in the way that I'm just keeping it real and raw and relatable and fun. And I want to show people that your nervous system is, yeah, we should take it seriously, but actually, this stuff, if we learn to work with it, isn't necessarily woo. It's just fucking literally is you. Like, I don't know. I'm not making a lot of sense here, but I'm just trying to keep it relatable and fun, I guess, in what I do. And
Accessible.
accessible, that's the word. Yeah. I always say I'm down to earth, and because a lot of people say that who come to my sessions. Oh, I like to come because it's sort of just you're down to earth and you swear a lot. I'm like, cool, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's like kind of the vow of that's like, yeah, that's what I want. Like, you don't have to be all spiritual and woo to come and do breath work. It's not this woo thing. It can be, but it's just like it's you. Like, without breath, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a really shit answer. I'm really sorry.
No, it's fantastic. And I do think that's what sets you apart, is that accessibility and that removing the barriers that you've got to be in sweaty Betty yoga
Yes,
pants.
Lululemon. Yeah, yeah. And when I went to Costa Rica a couple of years ago, I went to like a breathwork sound healing thing, and I rocked up at the door, and there was probably 30 American women, all in Lululemon and Sweaty Betty, all white, probably heterosexuals, probably as well. And I never felt so out of place in my life. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I'm not saying like, but I just say to anyone, like, just come as you are, like, come in your flipping boxer shorts. I don't care. Take it all off during breath work. I don't care. You don't have to have the Lululemons and the sweaty betties just to come and do breath work. You just come as you are. It's one of those, like, it's not performative in terms of you've got to have this outfit to come and do it, or you've got to look this way to come and do it. Just come the fuck as you are.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And I think that's really important in a world that is full of social media, carefully curated social media feeds of people's highly Instagrammable lives on the surface, but, having a breakdown on the inside. And I know it's become a bit of a cheesy buzzword now, but I think in a world of AI, automated things, removing humanity, making things look as pretty as possible, for the gram, people want real and authentic and in the moment and unfiltered more than ever. Like, we're all craving real connection and to not have to pretend. Like, it's actually pushing us, a lot of us, further the other way. And we're like, can we just do this without the bollocks, please?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think I've always, like, I used to be called, I don't use the title anymore, but I used to be called the real life coach, because it is about real life, about keeping it real. And I think, like, the more stuff that, like, you and I do, and which is really real and raw, people are going to crave that more and more, and that in-person stuff, because everything's so so we've had the images all filtered. Now we've got all the words that are all the bloody same as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone's AI chatting it all. And don't get me wrong, like, I use AI, I say, right, I'll reel off, like yesterday after my breathwork session, I always just talk it into AI about what happened, what I felt, what I saw, because so much comes from those sessions. And then I say, like, just give me 5 bullet points of content. And then I'll take those bullet points and think, oh, is that any good? No, that's shit. Oh yeah, I can write something about that. That's how I use it, not like as a script. And yeah, it's just, we live in such a filtered world that the things that, the in-person real and raw stuff is gonna become even more precious, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're moving further and further away from that stuff. And so it's going to become more highly valued, which is something that my highly paid coach has been talking about. It's like recreating these in-person experiences is actually going to become more valuable.
Definitely. So you mentioned you were skeptical about breathwork
Mm.
earlier. So how did you get into it? How did you embrace that skepticism and move past it?
Yeah, well, sob story incoming. um,
Bring it.
bring it. I won't cry today. I'm not feeling like the tears are close to the surface, but who knows? Yeah, I guess like I was already life coaching, as you know, and just had a really shit time in a very short space of time. Like in a few months, my marriage broke down. My dad died, and my dog passed away suddenly. So I was in a
Oh,
really dark
Christ.
place, real shit place, and really I was just, yeah, obviously it dragged on. The divorce wasn't the best. Money comes into play and all that shit. And obviously nursing my dad in the last few weeks of his life was really tough. I would say traumatic for me. I found that incredibly hard. He was dying from cancer.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal time. And, like there's a psychologist, can't remember which one, that says, humans are pretty robust and resilient. You can take one big sort of event. You get a bit wobbly with two, but when you get three in one go, then the wheels come off. And I think the wheels definitely came off for me. And I've got lots of great healers around me, lots of really awesome friends that I can talk to that all work in this kind of coachy healing world. And then I had a bit of talking therapy, but I was still just really struggling. And then kind of breath work just sort of kept coming into the picture on the gram and everywhere. And I don't know, I had a conversation with someone and I'm like, what is a load of woo-woo, like nonsense. Probably didn't say that out loud to them. I was just like, yeah, not really for me. I kind of knew I needed something different, but I just didn't know what it was, because as I look back now, right, because you can only connect the dots looking back. But when I look back now, I was just really not wanting to feel the rawness of the pain and the grief and the loss and rejection. And I didn't know how to handle it. I just didn't know what to do with it, and I was trying to avoid it. So I was in a really, really dark hole. And then the other thing that really played on my mind at the time was that I should be managing this better than I am, because of all the work that I've done, all the 2 decades of personal development work. So eventually I was literally like at rock bottom, like I'm on a one-way ticket out. And I and so I thought, like, I'm just going to go and do this. But I started to look into the breath work, and then I found this guy, like we were talking before about the whole woo-woo thing about breath work and Lululemon stuff. I found this guy who was an ex-addict who worked in LA, worked with lots of Hollywood celebs, but he swore a lot. He was really down to earth, but he was also empathic. He'd cry with you, swear at you, and
Oh,
just like and I thought, this is the guy for me. Like, and if I hadn't have
yeah.
seen him, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But I saw this guy and I could relate to him because, like I said, he swore, but he cried, and I loved him. So I thought, right, fuck it, I'm going to do this. So I went and did 5-day emotional detox course, not knowing much about breath work. And breath work really is an umbrella term. There's 1,000 ways to do breath work, just like exercise is an umbrella term, and there's 1,000 ways to do it. So what I didn't realize was I'd gone in at the deep end. So like I'd literally
Ah,
like the breath work he did was like super powerful and intense and kind of like altering your states of consciousness. It wasn't like this woo-woo, soft, gentle stuff. So I didn't know that. I went and did it. It blew my mind. At the first session, I literally was like, what the fuck was that? Like,
ah,
I literally felt like I tripped out. So it was a bit like having a psychedelic experience
wow.
without a banned substance, like it was just like, I don't
Yeah.
know just what happened. So that's how that was my first experience of breath work.
Wow.
And that type
That's
of breath work
amazing.
is called, it comes under the smaller umbrella of like subtitle of transformational breathing or breath work. And that particular modality is conscious connected breath work. That was the first one that I did. And yeah, it's super powerful.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing what things we have accessible to us that
Mm.
can give you that kind of high? Like for me, it's swimming in the river,
Yeah.
especially in the winter when it's colder. We just get so high afterwards, but
Yeah.
it's natural. It's all your body's own chemicals and hormones, and we get really giggly. And I think, yeah, this isn't a banned substance. This is my body creating its own high. Like,
Yeah.
no one teaches you that.
No.
No one teaches you can create your own buzz like that.
Well, the thing is, we've been taught that we create our own buzz by taking drugs and drinking alcohol. There's a drugstore on
Yeah,
every high street, right? It's called a pub. It's literally a
yeah,
drugstore. Like go in
yeah,
and you're encouraged to go in and have it, and we're encouraged to drink alcohol and whatever. This is how we get our highs. This is what we've been taught. Is what I was taught. And of course, but with that high comes a very big down on when you take drugs and
yeah,
alcohol, and obviously impacts your mental health long term, your physical health. But there's some actually fucking amazing simple tools that are very
yeah,
accessible to all of us that can
yeah.
radically transform and change your life. And there's no come down. Nobody's going to ban
No,
breath work. Nobody's going to ban swimming. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah. Oh, and another one was I went to a sober rave last year that
oh
was
yeah,
outdoors. And honest to God, like there was that initial bit of, "Ooh, without alcohol, how do we start dancing?" But it was like proper music. It wasn't
yeah,
cheesy shit you get at a wedding. It was a proper DJs, proper like there was some old school
yeah.
hip hop, and then there was some drum and bass, and then there was some like really funky house, and then there was some dirty dubstep, and like,
I
but we
love
were
it.
all so high. I drove home and I felt like I was off my tits, but in like the best way, like pumping out this drum and bass, driving along a country lane, and I was like, I'm so high, but I knew that I wasn't the only sober one. Everyone was sober, and so we were all in that experience together. Because the thing
Yeah.
about alcohol and drugs is they take you away from the moment, but you don't realize that. Like
No, you
we
think you're
we
in it, but
use
you're not.
those things because we want to remove our inhibitions and get closer to each other. But if you sit and you don't drink and the person in front of you drinks, you realize how far away they're getting from you. But you don't
Yeah,
realize that when you're all doing it together. So yeah, I'm now 18 months sober, and I say this as the party girl that used to arrive with a tray of shots at 2 a.m. I never believed I could go sober. It is just when you step outside of that whole system, you see it for what it is, and then you go, "Oh, fuck.
yeah.
I've been stuck inside this cultural norm for so long, but it was never giving me what I thought it was."
And I think we spoke about that sober rave when you did it, because I've done a few of them as well, and they're in this, like, club in Vauxhall in London, and it goes from 12 till 5 p.m., and,
I love
like, there's
that.
proper glitter and pole dancers and everything, and then there's dance and trance and house, and it's just and you come out at 5 p.m. and it's like daylight, and you're like, "Oh, should we go and have some dinner?" It's like, but you're like you say, you're on amazing high, and you can just drive home. It's, like,
Yeah,
amazing, and I've done a few of them, and do you know what? On the ones that I love to dance, and I think going and doing a rave sober, I dance more than I do when I'm pissed, like, when
yeah,
I'm drinking. And literally the last one I did, I danced for 4.5 hours solid, got on the bus and went home. It was brilliant. It was in
I
Brighton,
love
it was
that.
brilliant. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it is. I mean, I do drink alcohol, but not a lot. I'm literally go on holiday and have a mojito. I'm not a big drinker. I used to drink a lot, and I think I will. I think I may have said this to you before. I think I will eventually get there where I just don't drink alcohol at all. But I don't drink. Like, I poured myself a drink the other day because we were, like, going to celebrate something, and I drank about a third of it, and I thought, actually, don't want this, and I just poured it down the drain. So,
mm, yeah,
do you know what I mean? I think I will eventually get to that point where it's just like, "Nah." But I don't need it to get high. I don't need it to
yeah,
regulate myself. I'm in that mode where I've got myself in this position in life where when I'm feeling shit, when my back's up against the wall, and all of those kind of things, that is the absolute time I will definitely not take a drink. Like, I'm not
yeah,
taking a drink when I'm trying to master something, I'm feeling shit, I'm up against it, whatever. Those are the exact opposite times I will take a drink. Whereas in the
yeah.
past and when I was younger, they were exact times when I would have.
Yeah, totally. And the irony is, those kinds of activities, like for me, it was the risky behavior, the staying
Mm,
out late, the drinking, they were all moving me further away from processing my feelings. I was
yeah,
avoiding them. But the
yeah,
things we're talking about, breath work, cold water swimming, sober raves, part of the high is in your body. You are processing stuff and you're moving it.
yeah,
And you are releasing things without even realizing you're doing them. Like, don't get me wrong, big fan of talking therapy, but there's a
me
lot to
too.
be said for using your body to move things through you. I don't think we always need to talk about things. I think the more you can allow your body to release things naturally. Like yesterday, it was my son's sports day. They said it would finish at 11:30. I allowed half an hour, so my first call was at 12. Inevitably, the running races took fucking ages. Put your foot behind the line. I'm like, just shout 3, 2, 1, go, and just let them run. And I had all these children to rattle through. I texted my client, and luckily they were understanding. I was like, I might be 10 minutes late, but it's my son's. I have to watch his race at the end.
Yeah.
Watched the race, went and gave him a hug and said, sorry, we can't stay to the end. Like, we've got to go. And the lip wobble came out, and he was like, can you not stay to the end? Knife in the guts. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I left and I took it with me. And I got into my pod at like 5 to 12 or like before the call. And I thought, I feel really shit about that moment. And it was shit to see him disappointed. And I closed my eyes and I took some deep breaths. And I was like, I need a cry. And I actually managed to do it.
Yeah.
And I said out loud, like, I'm sorry, buddy, I'm sorry. And it allowed me to let it out. And I cried.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself over and over, you can only try your best. Like, you can only do your best. As a parent, you took the information, you planned around it. You can only do your best. And I said it until I felt better. And then I dried my eyes and I did the call and it was great. But I didn't take that with me.
Yeah.
I processed it.
And that's often what we do, right?
And I didn't need to turn it into a bunch of stories about fucking parent guilt or being a shit mum. I just processed it in the moment and I didn't take it with me. And I was like, Siobhan, you just regulated your emotions. But not by thinking or talking too much, literally just doing what is that thing that my body needs to do? It needs to cry. Okay, let's make it happen. Done. Move on. I was very proud of myself.
No, I think you should be.
I don't need to take that to therapy session. I just need to move it through and then I'm done.
Yeah. I think that's amazing because that's kind of like if I sent some stuff to a client this morning about doing a similar thing and they were like just overthinking it. And I'm like, no, just sit down, ask this question and then breathe and just feel it in your body and then see what comes up and whatever comes up, whether you want to get up and dance or shout or scream or whatever, have a good cry, do that and then see how you feel. I mean, they've sent me 6 messages since. I don't know what they say, but it was that kind of similar thing, right? Because they're just going over and over and over in your head thinking.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of that shit. Like I'm an overthinker, like historically. I remember my friend saying it to me years ago and I'm like, I don't think I'm an overthinker, but I absolutely am. One of the things with breathwork is I'm a fan of talking therapy. Don't get me wrong. I've had plenty of it in my life, but it gets you out of that thinking brain. And we've got so much stimulus for our thinking brain these days as well. It's just overstimulated world. It's so overstimulated. This is what I think, that a lot of people have forgotten how we get off. Like, how do we get down into our body? What does that even fucking mean? Like, and they don't know how to do it and don't know how to stop it because we're just constantly fed shit. And that's what breathwork, one of the things it did for me was I tried meditation and I can meditate now, but I used to be always saying, I can't meditate. And then sometimes I really still struggle with it. I just can't do it without having something else. And the breath work was the thing that got me out of all of this fucking chaos up here in my head. And I don't know, just in my body. Like, and I was, when I had all of those challenges back in 2020 and the end of 2019, I was just like, I don't know, it just got me in my body and allowed me to find my way through it rather than trying to mask it with something, trying to go around it, which is all of the things I was trying to do. And, I was masking it by exercising and not eating. I was masking it, by just like anything, not to think about it. But of course, all my head wanted to do was think about it. And what breathwork helped me do was get into my body so that I could actually feel those feelings. I could cry and have the strength and the resilience to be with those feelings and move through those feelings. Whereas prior to breath work, I was just, I don't want to feel these feelings. It's too raw. It's too much. I don't know what to do with it. Why am I feeling like this? What's it? I'm a bad person. I'm this, I'm that, and that. And it just took me down this blind one-way alley, and breath work fucking sucked me back out the alley into my body. And I've never cried so much in my life. And sometimes what that does is, and I see it a lot now, and we're talking about like, yeah, sometimes you just need to breathe or your thing, whatever that is. And you can walk away from a session, you feel light, you've had a good bubbly, like I did a session yesterday, 16 people. The noise of crying and whooping and wailing in the room was off the freaking chart. Some people just got up, filled in and just went, thanks, Sam, see you next week. Some other people were just like, some people sometimes they stay on the mat and they can't really move. And then 3 of my regulars came up to me who normally just go, thanks, Sam, see you next week, wanted to talk. But the breathwork's given them the ability to go, bleh, you know, this is happening.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So sometimes it's almost like the tool for those that can't talk about it to talk about it. And then for others, it's just enough to come and cry, thrash your body about if you want to, whatever, and make a noise, leave and go, cheers, thanks, I feel light, I'll see you next week.
I love that. Yeah. It just goes to show, it reminds me of that, one of those zinger memes I saw on Instagram, overthinking is underfeeling.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to write that down. Oh, hang on.
Like, I think I sent it to like a bunch of my clients and I was like, guys, this is it. And I took that with me and I was like, anytime you find yourself stuck in your head, thinking, your body is thinking to try and keep you safe from the idea of feeling. And then it's why I start every client session with, I don't say, how are you? I say, how are you feeling? And then a lot of them will instantly go to things that they're thinking.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But like, I try and encourage them, but like, where is that in your body? Where are you feeling that? Because so many ADHDers are disconnected from their bodies. They've got incredible intuition, but it's been completely squashed. You know, there are things like alexithymia that makes it hard to identify your feelings. There's general disconnection between brain and body. But like, the more you learn that your body is trying to tell you stuff, then the more you trust it. And I think a lot of it with sitting with uncomfortable feelings is trust, is not trusting yourself. There's so much language around, I can't even think about that because that will just destroy me.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, I can't go there because that's too hard. And you're like, you can. You actually can.
Yeah.
My very wise friend and yogi, Beth, always says, if anything was truly unbearable, you would die.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can trust yourself to go through something absolutely awful and come out the other side.
Yeah.
You can, but we don't trust ourselves. And so we avoid all that discomfort.
Yeah. And it is, and I think breath work is, it gets you to the truth and it kind of leads you the way through. And that sounds a bit woo-woo, but it does. That's what it did for me. And I've just seen it like so many times, just I can't even count like how many times and how many messages. And I did this focus group because I'm creating this course and it's called Regulate Your Fucking Life. And it's
I love that.
I know, and I'm writing the book. I've actually booked myself a week away, just me in a shepherd's hut to write the book in August. And then there's going to be like a program or course. So it's called Regulate Your Fucking Life.
I was going to ask you about breathwork. Like, what do you think the biggest myth is that people believe that just isn't true?
You have to wear Lululemon pants to do it. I do think people think it's a load of woo-woo nonsense. I think a lot of people do. So there is this myth that it is, it is quite woo-woo and that it's really for yogis, but it's for everyone, of course, as we know, or I know. And also, everyone also thinks that, well, they're breathing, so they don't really need to do anything with their breath because it just happens automatically. So there's no need to kind of place any attention on it. But just because it's automatic doesn't mean it's efficient. That's what I always say anyway. And it's true, right? Just can you can run doesn't mean you're, Usain Bolt, Mo Farah, or, Dame Kelly Holmes. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can run, but are you running in the best way? A bit like this kid's running race the other day at the sports day. It's like, yeah, we do many things, but are we doing it efficiently? I can stand on stage and talk the hind legs of a donkey. Does it mean I'm the best and it's the most efficient way to do it? No. So yeah, I think that's probably it. People just think, oh, they're breathing, so they don't need to do anything with their breath.
That's a solid one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's things like, they call it email apnea, don't they? Where people literally hold their breath when they're reading their emails.
Oh God, yeah.
And I really notice that in situations where I'm worried or tense or excited or excited.
Yeah.
I go, oh, are you holding your breath? And then I'll go, yeah, Christ, I was holding my breath. And it's what that that holding of breath has done is it's literally tightened both my butt cheeks and my shoulders and my jaw and everything.
And your
Because my
diaphragm.
body is on edge. Yeah. And then I suddenly go, oh, okay. Yeah. You're okay. You're okay. It's fine. And I really notice that now in situations. Yeah. Waiting for a reply to something, or I do a lot of unintentional breath work sometimes on the way to pick my son up from school. If he's going through a period of really bad like after school meltdowns, I'll use that 10 minutes in the car to blast some drum and bass and just like calm myself and regulate and take some deep breaths and tell myself whatever he brings, it's not about me. It's shit and I can handle it. And I like give myself a little mini coaching session
I love that.
to help with that transition. But I bring myself right down before I pick him up. Because if I meet him and I'm anxious, I'm probably just going to like make it twice as bad. So
absolutely.
I love that point about, I'm breathing, I'm alive. That's good enough. There's so much that you can do with it. And I know I haven't even scratched the surface, but like listening to you talk about it and some of the stories you've shared with your clients, it's phenomenal. And we all have access to this tool every day.
Right?
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere like you can literally do it at any moment.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you learn the tools but obviously a lot of people, you come into breathwork, you think, well, what's the point of it, right? But, and I didn't know this in the beginning. I just did this thing. It was very experiential and it changed my life. But obviously 5 years on, I've learned a hell of a lot. But what we don't realize is that, what really runs the show of all of us? Well, keeping us on the planet is our breath and the air, right? But actually what is running literally you as a physical human? You might say your brain, you might say your heart, but it absolutely isn't. It's your nervous system. And what's the one thing? How can you regulate? You'll hear a lot of people talking about nervous system regulation and dysfunction and whatever. And people have got their opinions about that, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, one of the ways you can regulate your nervous system is with your breath. Your breath is that bridge between your brain and your body, because your nervous system, obviously, if you looked for a diagram of your nervous system where it highlights all of your nervous system, it is like mind-blowing. Like your nervous system, obviously, as you can imagine, it spans every inch, every minute, and every millimeter of your body your nervous system is running through. And so, when you're in situations where you're thinking, that's impacting just literally everything, your physicality, your emotional well-being, and the one way you can control that, rather than staying in these, situations where you're holding your breath or you're completely frozen or, you're highly anxious, is your breath. Your breath can shift your nervous system. It can help balance it out. It can help down regulate, like you say, and a lot of people think, breathwork is literally this thing I do when I feel like fucking shit. But what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing. You used it before you actually fucking needed it. That is like amazing, right? I cannot tell you. That's what I try and teach my clients. It's like, actually use it before you need it, because like you could then go and he's up here, right? He's really, he's really highly regulated. You meet him where he's at and you're both then highly dysregulated. And so then you've got to try and bring yourself down, but you're too highly regulated to remember what you're supposed to be fucking doing, right? And instead, if you do it before, then you meet him from a completely different platform and you can just absorb that and take that in, and probably, it would definitely help him so much more. And that's the bit, doing it before you need it.
Using breath work as prep work.
I'm writing that one.
Write that down.
Hang on.
You can have that. That's a
Thank you. Using breath work as prep work.
Yeah, that's a trick that people miss with children in particular, but also other adults, is not realizing that children learn, and you can learn at any point as an adult, I truly believe, to regulate your emotions by co-regulating first.
Yeah.
And so if you go meet your child and you're already dysregulated, you can't help them co-regulate. You've got nothing to give. But if you make sure you're as calm as possible, you help bring them down. And it's this thing about parenting that's so powerful that I've learned. And don't get me wrong, I don't always do that. Sometimes I get it wrong. But even in the moment when I realise that he's drawn me into what I call a cul-de-sac argument, where he just starts an argument for a dopamine hit, and I'm like, how the fuck has this happened? I don't even know what we're arguing about, and I fucking hate arguing, so just stop it. I often stop and I take some really deep breaths, and then I can remember he's not giving you a hard time, he's having a hard time. And often when I stop and close my eyes and take those breaths, he realizes what's going on, and he'll go, oh, I'm really sorry, mummy, I'm really sorry. And his shoulders drop, and then he bursts into tears because he can see me stepping out of the argument and going, no, I'm not going there with you. I'm bringing myself back down.
Yeah.
But it's the language of breath, isn't it? It's like knowing that you can access that and you can do that together. And
and how are you gonna, like, teach people this all the time for stuff in the boardroom, for people going on the pitch, because I work with athletes and people in business and high performers, and teaching them stuff like this. And one of my clients are like, she's got like £150 million business, like and another business on top of that. She's got a lot going on and 2 kids. And I know she said she was like in the middle of like kind of having a bit of a row with her husband, and things started to the voices started to go up a little bit.
Yeah.
And she just caught herself and she stopped. And she said, just give me 1 minute. And she said, I stepped outside. I did my breathing, literally like 2 minutes. And I came back in the room and I spoke calmly, and I was able to bring him down so that we both lowered our voices. Right. And that's exactly the same kind of thing as you've just been sharing. And she was able to then bring him down, and they had a really good discussion. And even then he was like, what the fuck just happened then? Like, you've never done that before. And I mean, we're a long way down the road now. And I mean, honestly, their communication, their ability to, and even they've shared a lot of the stuff with their kids is just like phenomenal. But it's just, right. It's just that. It's like, oh my God.
And realizing that that's within your power at any given moment to be able to do that.
Yeah. Because you imagine where it would have gone otherwise.
Yeah. So what is a good starting point if people are curious, maybe like, oh, I'm skeptical, but maybe I could feel differently?
The starting point really is just like breath awareness. And that is just like, a bit like you saying, you have awareness now of noticing when you're holding your breath and things like that. I think it's just noticing when, what your breath is doing. And so the starting point for that is when you wake up in the morning. And this is not, I don't want to add another fucking morning routine item to your list, because we've all got 10 of those, right? A best way to start your day, fucking see how I feel, is just, I do this, like some days I write 10 pages in my journal. Some days it's just like, I'm not writing in it today. But just notice your breath, just breath awareness. And this is where it sounds a little bit woo, but I want you to go with it, is like most people don't know how to do that. Like, how do we even start to do that? And I didn't. It's like when people say, oh, like go within, like, how? Like, I don't fucking understand that. Like, how am I supposed to turn in? Like, when my brain is like, this is why I didn't like meditation, because it's just like, oh, it's too much going on up here. I can't turn in. And of course, the easiest way to do that is with your breath. So you just close your eyes once you've woken up. I'm going to get you to close your eyes again. And you just place a hand on your tummy and a hand on your chest and just breathe without changing your breath, without doing anything to it, and just see if you can notice any sensations of breathing in your body. So like maybe you can feel the air coming in through your nostrils, and so you're bringing your attention, you're closing your eyes, so you're cutting out outside stimulus, and you're just noticing where there's sensations of breathing. So maybe you can feel your tummy rise and fall a little bit, or maybe your breath is in your chest, because once you're kind of like trying to make friends with your breath, right? You're trying, and if you want to make friends with anything, what have you got to do? You've got to give it your attention. You've got to give it your time. You've got to nurture it, because your breath really is like, if you make friends with it, it's so fucking powerful. Like, you would not believe. One of my clients had really, awful traumatic event in their life, and they had panic attacks, anxiety, and they were almost frightened to breathe. They're frightened of their own breath. And a lot of people are frightened of their own breath, right? It's bonkers, but it's true. And so you have to make friends with it. And I started this person, highly successful person, literally what I'm telling you now. Like, it sounds like so small, but they started there and they're now here. And she like will say, you have taught me that my breath is powerful and that I can trust my body. Bonkers. And this is just where it starts. So you're just noticing what your breath is doing, and then notice what you're feeling, right? Like you were talking about that before, right? But how are you feeling? So, okay, my breath feels like it's in my chest. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't judge that. How am I feeling though? So generally when you're in your upper chest, your breath is up there, you're probably a little bit stressed, you're more anxious, your heart's beating faster. So try and put the two things together and just start there, because it will give you so much information about maybe where you are emotionally, where you are with your stress levels. If your breath is in your belly and you can feel your belly rise and fall, you'll probably notice that your breath is slower. Again, how am I feeling? My breath is like this. How am I feeling? It just starts there. And then obviously we ain't got time to go in this podcast, but then you go on a whole journey. But a lot of people that I work with, like, I've got a few clients who've got ADHD. One of my clients got ADHD. And she basically, we are literally having to go back and kind of almost retrain her nervous system because of how she was through stuff from her childhood, holding her breath, being an anxious kid. That for her nervous system now and her body, that's like default. So she's quite often feels dysregulated, feels out of sorts, and she swings a little bit trying to come back into her breath. But her default is not a healthy default, because it's come from a lot of holding her breath as a child, being tense, being anxious, and that's her modus operandi. But that's not healthy. Physical well-being, mental well-being, brain health, heart health, that will impact all of that long term. And of course, that when you run your nervous system like that, that creates more cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol and adrenaline has an impact on the brain and the brain health, cognitive function, cognitive ability, your ability to make decisions quickly, which is a real big problem for a lot of people, and procrastination. Who would have thought that all can stem from your nervous system, and that your breath is a thing that actually is a thing that can help you regulate all of that? So you make better decisions, you have better focus, you sleep better. Don't even get me started on sleep and brain health and memory loss and dementia. We could go down a whole nother avenue with that.
Wow. It's incredible. And it's right there in your body every day.
Yeah.
Oh, I could talk to you all day about this. Thank you so much. I feel like there's a bridge. I love this idea of a bridge to make friends with your brain and your body, make friends with your breath.
Yeah.
But I love this idea that, I think that is a huge thing holding a lot of people back, is especially people who have panic attacks and hyperventilate. They're afraid of it. I think that's such a key point.
Exactly.
So if people have enjoyed listening to you, how can they find out more about you, and what can they expect?
What can they expect? I think I hope that they find
Swearing.
Yeah, a bit of swearing. Someone that's real, raw, relatable. I guess one of the things I hear the most is that people, why they like me and come back to me, and I'm not for everyone, and breathwork's not for everyone, but people come back to me because I'm down to earth. I think that's the thing that I hear most. I like it because you're down to earth. It's not too woo. It's like, and I think that's it. So you're going to hear me, talking about the nervous system a lot, talking about how breathwork changed my life, and I, and how I help anyone, but I work with a lot of people, founders, business people, and sports and athletes, just how we can use our breath, to make life fucking better, basically. Live from a place of, like, for me, I live from a much calmer, peaceful place. My brain's a much quieter place to be. And I've been that person who just doesn't know what to do with their brain. Like, I don't know how to fucking think my way out of this. And everything starts with breath. I used to say it starts with you. It starts with breath. Everything, because it controls your nervous system. So you're going to find out how, if you want to perform better at work, be a better parent, communicate better, sleep better at night. You're going to find out all about that when you come into my world. And for me, breath work really was the key to unlocking my truth. I think I sometimes didn't even know what I really thought. I just take on other people's ideas and ideologies because I didn't know how to think for myself. And weirdly, the breath, I didn't need to think more about it. I needed my breath to help me understand, actually, my truth was in my body all along.
Yeah.
So I didn't need, and I was just trying to think about it all the time. And that's the kind of...
The answers are already there.
Exactly. It's in you, but how do you access it within you, which is what I tried to do for years. Well, actually, for me and a lot of people that I work with, is actually through the breath. Like, I just take people on this journey of like dropping into your body and dropping into your altered states of consciousness gets you to your truth, whether you fucking like it or not. Like, it is undeniable. It's like, yeah, well, because with your thinking brain, right, you can negotiate your way out of anything, right? You can lie to yourself, you can negotiate yourself, you can bullshit with yourself. But when you use your breath and you have altered states of consciousness, and even some of the more subtler breath work, the truth is undeniable because you learn to listen to your body. And one last thing I wanted to say, and I just really want to ask you this about ADHD is, and my experience of having ADHD clients is the sensitivity. Like, do you think you're more sensitive? Is that a general?
Oh, definitely 100%.
Which is amazing, right? This is what I've noticed, right? That my ADHD clients are more sensitive, and this is something I've just started talking about. But the more sensitive you are, like, you know how before it's like, oh, you're too sensitive, you're oversensitive. This is actually a real fucking superpower, because oversensitive people are more intuitive. And if you think that you're maybe highly sensitive, but you're not intuitive, you absolutely are. And your breath will show you how to tap into that. I just want to end with that. So if anyone
100%.
listening,
love that.
Yeah, your intuition is really like, if you are super sensitive, honestly, you're one of the most intuitive people on the planet.
Yeah, 100%. And there's so much power there. Oh, what a lovely place to end it. Thank you so much for being here and everything you've said.
Thank you.
Got my brain popping like popcorn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please do drop this podcast a rating or review. I'd be ever so grateful to reach more of those that need to hear it. So I'd also like to ask you a favour. Who do you know that would benefit from listening to this episode? Please hit share and send it to them too. Thanks so much for listening, and I can't wait to see you here next time. Let's do business differently.